It's the special Saturday edition of NFL Primetime. The Steelers look to the past and ride the bus again and again and again. But the Giants give them something to ponder in the present as Pittsburgh prepares for the playoffs. And the Big Blue gets a glimpse of the future. Eli becomes a Manning. Two teams with Super Bowl history in their past play for pride by the Bay. While it's Vic versus Carolina's Big Three tonight. Can the Panthers contain them and make it 6 straight? It's bonus football, Week 15 of NFL Primetime.
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to, shall we say it, Tom?
A special
Saturday edition of NFL Primetime. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson. Glad you included us in your Christmas shopping because I know how hectic it is. Hey, people figured that the mall at Meadowlands wouldn't be that full as in a close game today. They were wrong.
Yeah, they were wrong. That's why they play the game.
Somebody once said that. And especially with everything, rookie who's done great. Rookie who they're waiting for. Here we go. Steelers in the early game today against Eli Manning. 0-4 is the start of the New York Giants. Ben Roethlisberger 11 for 11. Willie Ponder's 6th-round pick in 2003 stole the show in the opening kickoff. Now think about it. Willie Ponder does something the Giants, Troy Polamalu missed him by a hair, and he could go all the way. Giants have been playing home games for 80 years. First time at home they've ever returned an opening kickoff touchdown.
Yeah, and Eli Manning pumped up even though he hasn't even been on the field.
And the Giants played that way, although Ben Roethlisberger and Antoine Randall had 5 completions of 34 or more. That was one. Now, you didn't really see it, did you? Let's show it again. Roethlisberger to Antoine Randall with a quick shovel pass. It's almost like Princeton passing the basketball, Tom. And that's a touchdown. And Veron Hayes scores it. We're tied at 7. Look at Shockey, huh? And Eli Manning to Shockey for 2 yards. He juggles, fumbles.
But look at the catch. He had to make a difficult catch for Eli Manning. Built some confidence for this kid early on.
And so now Ben Roethlisberger said, okay, you know what? We have a game here, and I think that was like an eye-opener. This is Hines Ward, who had a huge day today, Tom. And then the Giants, though, on a cake. Ben held the ball long, didn't he?
Yeah, he held the ball, but he's very protective of the ball unless he has to open up this offense and do some things downfield.
And part of that was unnecessary roughness on the Giants. This time, it's Roethlisberger to Randall L. They expect Burris back next week, but Randall L. excelling in the starting role, 35 yards, and it's a touchdown, 17-14. Then Jerome Bettis. Doesn't look like he's getting tired.
Well, he looks as fresh as he would at the beginning of the year. Looks like the Jerome Bettis we were looking at 5 years ago. Hitting the hole, hitting it on time, getting through, and getting about 20 yards downfield.
Sets up a field goal 20-14. Nobody open here, and we haven't seen this much. We have to remember, he is a rookie.
He's a rookie,
and it's picked off by Brent Alexander. So Manning, and we know that he's a rookie because that's all we've been hearing about. That's all he's been hearing about. There's a snap pass to Shockey. Takes on 4 Steelers, almost gets it done.
I love the effort by Shockey here. And again, these are the things that the rest of the team has to do in order to give Eli Manning a chance.
And then, whoa, Tiki Barber, and it looks like the Steelers make the hit, but he runs right into the rump of the up blocker, Jim Finn from Pennsylvania. Giants settle for a field goal, 20-17. Now it's 23-17. Reed kicked 4 field goals today. Manning, David Tyree throws a nice deep ball.
Yeah, he throws a pretty long ball, puts it up in the air, gives the receiver a chance to run under it.
And then Manning to Shockey, and then this would be, it's almost in again, down to the 1-yard line, but this time, play action, the fake to Tiki, and Marcellus Rivers flows into the end zone. G-Man lead 24th. How long has it been since we've been able to say that?
A while.
Yeah, it's a while. They lead 24-23. Meanwhile, late third, Roethlisberger. And, look, the ketchup, the chili sauce, the pickles, it's wide open down there. Hines Ward, 40 yards, sets up a field goal, 26-24 Pittsburgh. Fourth quarter, Manning to well-dressed Amani Toomer. First down. Man, you can see the whole team at different confidence level than we've seen from the Giants. Setting up, and there's bang, a block, and Tiki Barber. Touchdown, they go for two, don't get it, 30-26. The Giants. Now Roethlisberger. People forget, you know, Jerome Bettis can catch it and move it to Tom.
Absolutely.
And there's Bettis. First down. And then play fake from the midfield stripe. Deep ball. And sometimes you end your throw a little bit, it helps you. That's Randall L.
Yeah, great adjustment by Randall L on a ball that was thrown a little bit short.
It's Jerome Bettis rumbling into the end zone. 33-30, the Steelers retake the lead. So, 5 minutes ago, can Eli answer? And this is a nice story. The veteran Willie Williams makes the pick. Now, what the Giant fans didn't like, although they showed it, was the feet tangling up in blue, literally.
Yeah, there was a lot of contact before he got the ball, but a great job of keeping his head around so the referee understood he's looking for the football.
Well, the Steelers win at 33-30. Willie Williams, the last Steeler to play in the Super Bowl in '95 when they lost that game in Phoenix to Dallas. He's come back, made his first interception in a couple of years. But the big story in this one, the rookie QBs, whose teams combined to put up 63 points after the game, they spoke.
Our defense has carried us all year. I said to our offense, I said it's time that we kind of carry the load a little bit. Let's go down. If we have to get into a shootout, let's score every time we have the ball. Our defense stepped up big at the end of the game, and we ran the ball out.
Losing's losing. It's never fun. But, you know, at least when you go out there and you compete and you have a chance to win in the fourth quarter, you know, you just feel better because our offense got better today. We played better. We played against a good team and had a shot to win. We just, you know, we didn't take advantage of the opportunity at the end and get a win.
Well, we'll talk about the Steelers, who, oh, by the way, they're 13-1, and they've won 12 games in a row. We'll talk about them in a moment. But you heard the smile. Well, what a big smile. Eli Manning, look. Remember how the Giants looked with Warner in September? There was snap. They looked like a real team, and I don't mean to knock them, but they looked like a different ball. Maybe it was Ponder. Maybe it was just they said, okay, now's the time. Maybe Pittsburgh took them a little bit too much for granted on offense. You think, Tom?
Hard not to have that donut game, that in-between game that we talk about. But when you looked at the Giants and the way the game unfolded, it starts with the return of the opening kickoff. That builds confidence in the football team. I thought, quite frankly, the Giants played a lot harder today with Eli Manning at the helm. So they offered the opportunities to him. Receivers catching the football, guys doing things that they needed to do. We take a look at Eli Manning here. Gets back, drop back. Look at the protection by the offensive line. Goes up top to David Tyree. Deshae Townsend on the coverage. But look at the read that he had to have. Right here, the inside receiver, Shockey, runs the flat route. David Tyree turns Deshae Townsend around, gets into the middle of the football field. Eli Manning processes that information, gets the ball deep. Here, very Peyton-esque in the play fake, sticks this ball out there, lets everybody see it, comes up again, good protection, ball out of his hand, Marcellus Rivers on the end of that catch. Now the other side of the football, Ben Roethlisberger. Nice soft touch, knows that Randall L's wide open, just wants to get it to him, get it into his hands. Hines Ward comes in motion. Look at the step up right here. We freeze it for a moment, steps up in the pocket. Hines Ward, great job of completing this route because at the moment that Big Ben wants to deliver this ball, he's right behind a linebacker right there. He waits for him to clear the linebacker, come across, and make an outstanding catch. But when you think about the day, it really was all about Eli Manning because I understand now, I understood what Giant fans were feeling. They wanted to see something positive. They finally saw it. You can now come in off the ledge. The kid's going to be fine. He's going to be a good quarterback. But they had to see it. You absolutely had to see it from him, and today you saw all those things.
Rest in peace this winter and spring, you Giant fans. Even if they don't win a game, you can see where you're headed with Eli Manning. No, you're right. Come in and off the ledge, please. For Pittsburgh, Tom, look, let's not forget, Ben Roethlisberger now 12 for 12. This was a game that Hines Ward had a huge 100-yard game. This was a game that Bettis ran for another 100 yards. This was a game that Randall L had 100 yards. This was a game, as you heard Ben say, for the offense. For the defense, which had been ranked #1 in football and allowed the fewest points, a head-scratcher, a Willie Ponder, if you will. But maybe it's an aberration. I mean, would you be overly concerned or not?
I wouldn't be overly concerned. I wouldn't be overly concerned. I think that they're a very tired football team right now. They played some very tough football games in the last few weeks. I think they now can use the couple of extra days off that they're going to get before their next game. But you have to play games like this sometimes. And I think that you heard Ben Roethlisberger say it. The defense has carried us. And now we're going to have a game where we get into a shootout. We need to win that game. I think that they feel very good about this game, and you may refocus that defense a little bit.
The only game they lost, Tom, was the second game to Baltimore. That's what they play next week. But we should mention this. You want to know this, Steeler fans. It's only the fifth time that a team has won 12 straight regular season games. I understand there used to be 12 and 14 games. The Dolphins, of course, in 72 won them all, 14. Denver in 98 started winning the first 13. New England last year won the last 12 regular season games. The Bears in 85 won 12, and now Pittsburgh. What do the first four have in common?
They all won the Super Bowl.
Just
throw it out there.
Throwing it out. When we return, a team that is certainly thinking about playoff bound. Mike Vick, Saturday night game at home against Carolina coming up.
NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. Grab yourself a great-tasting, low-carb Miller Lite.
It's Christmas week on NFL Primetime. The Eagles home for the holidays and looking to stay there. But T.O. takes a tumble. All of Philadelphia holds their collective breath. The frozen tundra holds the Packers' playoff faith. And why it's not too late even if you're 5-8 in the NFC. In the AFC, another story. San Diego charges into Cleveland with the division title buried somewhere in all that snow. The Bills find all sorts of ways to score in Cincy. The Jets look for a couple of early gifts to clinch a playoff spot, while the Broncos D played Santa in Kansas City. Let the football begin on NFL Primetime.
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
Hello once again, everybody, along with Tom Jackson. Welcome to Week 15, Sunday edition of NFL Primetime. I'm glad you could stop on your holiday cheer and join us. Happy holidays from everybody here to everybody out.
Happy holidays.
It would be a happy holiday season. And the NFC, I think, is happy holidays for everybody.
Yeah, this doesn't get clearer as we get. Maybe a little bit. I can hardly tell. You have to explain it to me.
It's pretty clear that it's funny. And you know what? Where it's really interesting is in the NFC Norris division, where we're going to start with Minnesota and Mike Tice and the Vikings on the road. Now, first of all, Dante Culpepper's played great, but they've been 2-5 after a big start. And now, in Detroit, though, Dante Culpepper, talk about a big start. 82 yards early second quarter. Randy Moss, 14-3. Minnesota on the road in December.
Yeah, watch Moss run the route. It's a cornerback, two linebackers, a safety, and a partridge in a pear tree, and he beats them all for 82 yards.
Was that a trapezoid?
Yes, I had to go back to school for that, but trapezoid's good.
Now, Joey Harrington questioned if he would start because he's playing with the flu, and what he turned in was one of his best games as a pro. Harrington, Roy Williams, boy, is this rookie impressed despite the injuries. 24 yards, he injures his hip, goes to the locker room, gets extra padding. Williams would return. Later on the drive, Harrington to the other high-pick skill player, and that's the running back Kevin Jones. And what a run for 16 yards, the Lions in the game, 14-10. Field goal makes it 14-13, fourth quarter, now 3rd and 5. Culpepper, Nate Burleson, and look at the play he makes. Now, Tom, they say the plane is infinity. His feet never go out.
His feet never went out, and I guess the plane goes right out of the end zone and right across the earth.
It goes right across to Canada, to Windsor, I guess. Anyway, Harrington to then he pitches it back to Sean Bryson. Tricky Lions, big play. Here's Detroit down 8 minutes ago with a 62-yard pickup. 3rd and 5 from the 9. Harrington. Roy Williams, that's a pretty play, touchdown. And so now down 21-19, they go for 2. Harrington, big rush, ties streets, and there's a flag on Terrence Shaw. And so they get a second chance. They go for 2 from the 1 now. What a play by Harrington right here.
Yeah, Harrington under pressure, making that throw. Got a receiver making a catch for him. What a great play.
Now, Minnesota in a tie game. Michael Bennett, they're going to win on a field goal. No, it's a fumble. The Vikings do it, but they fall on the ball. And the next play, Mo Williams. Mo with a touchdown, 11 yards, and a big run for the Vikings lead.
Yeah, and look at him barrel over the Lions. He wanted that score. He knew his team needed it. He went and got it for him.
So 28-21, a minute and a half to go. Detroit in business. 2nd and 10 now. They're at the 38-yard line. Bullet Akeem to the 15. They're doing this with no timeouts. Harrington under control. He spikes it. Then 2nd down to Roy Williams. And the flag. And boy, Minnesota felt that he wouldn't be able to catch it. It's touch and go, but Detroit gets the call.
Yeah, and we take a look at the contact right there on the sideline. The ref had the flag at the ready. He knew he might see it. He threw it right at the goal line.
So 1st and goal. Harrington to Roy Williams. Touchdown with 8 seconds to go. Mike Tice cannot believe that the Lions are on the verge of tying the game.
Yeah, they left Williams in single coverage. He's going to make that catch. He's too big and athletic.
28-20. Oh, no. Oh, no. You're kidding me. Hansen never gets the ticket because rookie Don Molback, to the chagrin of Steve Mariucci, the snap is in the dirt, if you want to call it dirt, and it can't be handled by Nick Harris, and they never even get a chance to tie the game. Here's some coaching right there. Here's Steve Mariucci to both fullback
I love that.
and Williams. And because this young Lion team has showed something, but in the end, the Minnesota Vikings, who after a 5-1 start have been sputtering, to say it kindly, but they go on the road in the division and win it 28-27. Culpepper, 404 yards with 3 touchdowns. So, look, the Vikings, a team in dire need of a break, got the ultimate break at the end of the game, and they turned it into
They got the break at the end of the game, but you have to win up to that point to win the game. And I think when you look at what this team has gone through, losing 5 out of 7 games, the proposed slide that they're going through at the end of the year, the problems that they've had with the absence of Randy Moss from time to time during the course of the season, I think the one constant has been Dante Culpepper, and minus a Peyton Manning, minus a Donovan McNabb, maybe a T.O., and maybe you group all those other guys in the same basket. This guy is an MVP candidate, the undisputed leader of his football team, and he has carried this football team, 3 touchdowns today, but there's been other weeks, 5, 4. He has done a magnificent job. Wasn't for Peyton Manning, I think that this guy would be the MVP.
And with pressure, because, they're not light. This is not the 85 Bears on defense,
That's right.
I mean,
That's right. Got their problems on the defensive side of the ball.
But big picture now, Minnesota on Christmas Eve hosts the Green Bay Packers, and that's going to turn out to be first place in the division. And the Vikes, they can control their own fate. After all of this, when we return, we control our own fate. The Willis McGahee and the streaking Bills. The Bills were the scare, although what they did to the Bengals was scary. Buffalo circling more than one wagon, and Terrell Owens, we'll update you on this. He had to leave the game, ankle injury, so stay tuned. And now we go outside where the weather a factor today. Big time wind chill down in the low single digits for Buffalo at the Cincinnati Bengals. And very early, the tricky Bills, Bledsoe, McGahee, flea flicker, Lee Evans. It looks like a touchdown, but he ruled outside at the 5-yard line. And so Bledsoe says, okay, let me go to the rookie and let him get the touchdown after all. Game is tied at 7, late first quarter. Now, the Bills scored on offense. Now, Bills special teams. Boom! Jason Peters with the block, the recovery, and the touchdown.
It's a triple play. It's a triple play for any lineman.
The Bills special teams, maligned a few years ago, now may be the best in the game. John Kitna starting for the injured Carson Palmer, picked off by the Bengal for 7 years. To Keo Spikes, Kurt, go all the way. So now we got offense. We got special teams and defense scoring.
Yeah, and watch how Spikes created this play. He's covering Rudy Johnson. He knocks Rudy down as the ball is coming, and he is off to the races. Former Bengal, this must feel pretty good for Takeo.
Absolutely. Last week, Corey Dillon. This week, Takeo Spikes. Now, Late second quarter, scary moment for the Bills. You caught a glimpse of it a moment ago. Swing pass to Willis McGahee, and he just turns right there. Now, that is the repaired knee, twisted left knee. He did come back later, but then was kept out of the rest of the game as a precaution. So hopefully, anything McGahee knee, you're figuring, uh-oh, but preliminary reports, not so bad. Meanwhile, the Bills were pretty darn good. 27-10 third quarter. Even when Cincinnati had Rudy Johnson going, Nate Clements strips it. Guess who's there?
Takeo Spikes.
Takeo Spikes. And the Buffalo Bills, who scored 37 or more in their previous 4 games, all win. Now 33-17. The Bills were 0-4. They're now 8-6. And a rough game for Kit. 2 picks, the fumble, the 3 sacks, and for Cincinnati, 14 straight years now this assures that they will be without a winning season.
Yeah.
Tying for the second longest streak ever. Only the Saints, the first 20 years of their existence, longer. Inside the numbers, Buffalo, this is what they've done in just the 5 games that they've won. 2 defensive touchdowns, 3 special team touchdowns, and as good as that K-gun offense, Jim Kelly and the guys, 187 points in a 5-game span. It's the most they have ever had. Should I say it? Can I say it?
Yes, do.
No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills in December right now. Wow.
And they're circling the wagons in a lot of different ways, and I think that's what those numbers tend to indicate. And you saw a great example of it today. This is a team on the move. They do a lot of things offensively, defensively, and in the special teams area that make them successful. Drew Bledsoe getting very comfortable now with the complement of a good running game. He gets the time to sit back, scan the field, and throw the football. That touchdown to Lee Evans. Here, Jason Peters coming on the punt rush. They take pride in rushing the punt. He actually only gets within 4 yards of the punter, is able to get a hand up in exactly the right spot for the triple play. He recovered that for a touchdown. And then Takeo Spikes, you saw it in the highlight package. Great job, great hands, great athleticism. And that's what I think this team really has. A group of outstanding athletes. They're starting to play for each other and play together. And I think when you have that, you're going to be successful ultimately. And I think this team, one of those teams that next year, we're going to be talking about this team and where they're going in the playoffs, not whether they're going to get there.
Now, they have a shot even
That's
the
right.
AFC.
That's right.
Completely different than the NFC. They're at San Francisco in the one-time Schwam Bowl, although San Francisco is not quite what they were. That's to make the understatement. And then Buffalo hosts Pittsburgh.
That's going to be a heck of a game.
It's going to be a very, very good game, and maybe with playoff implications for the Bills as well as for the Steelers. Meanwhile, game without playoff implications in Chicago. Texans at the Bears, and again, this is wind chill in the -4, -5. But here's Houston. You got to love the way they play. David Carr to Corey Bradford, 37-yard touchdown, 7-0 Houston at the half. The score 10-5, bottom of the 8th. Houston's going to the bullpen, and Carr to Bradford this time for a first down. Then they do some hitting. That's Bagwell. No, I mean Dominic Davis, 11-yard touchdown, 17-5 Texans. And then Dr. Robinson, corner blitz, nails Chad Hutchinson. Charlie Anderson does the rest. Robinson also had a pick today that makes 6 for their #1 draft pick.
Going to be some Pro Bowl consideration for him.
And Lovie Smith sees his team. Remember 2 games ago, Chad Hutchinson, hey, we got to... No, they don't. Because they now have gone 2 straight games without scoring an offensive touchdown. And meanwhile, the wind chills, as I said, got to -10. And even on the undercard,
That's right.
Even on the games, quote, no one cares about, AFC over NFC. And Houston over the Bears with a thump.
Yeah, and another team that's growing in leaps and bounds. We know this is a very well-coached football team, and I'm watching David Carr and watch him mature into an awfully good quarterback in this league.
And so Carr maturing. Meanwhile, when we return, more maturing. Well, Brett Favre is plenty mature, and they're at home in the frigid temperatures against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But the Jags, AFC versus NFC, a recurring theme. Meanwhile, AFC versus NFC, Chad Pennington and the looking like playoff-bound Jets against the Seahawks, who could be playoff-bound. Marquee, one of the marquee games today, 2 teams with winning records. That would be Seattle, leaders of the
humorous NFC West at the New York Jets, who, as well as they've been playing, still looking uphill at the New England Patriots. Here we go, somewhere in the swamps of Jersey. And for a showdown, it didn't turn out to be much of one. Herman Edwards and the Jets concerned maybe Chad Pennington hadn't thrown well. Meanwhile, no concern with Jerry Rice. Watch the one-handed grab like Saladay's, his 208th touchdown in his career. Hasselbeck hits him 7-3. The Seahawks, but Curtis, my favorite Martin touchdown. You got to love Jet fans. His and her helmets, beers, I mean, that's just great. Mr. and Mrs. Seth Markman. Meanwhile, Hasselbeck picked off by Eric Bart. The linebacker had a huge game for the Jets. And with the score 17-7, that sets up Chad Pennington. Hey, there's a throw to Santana Moss. 32 yards, 24-7, Jet. 7 seconds left in the half. No timeout, Seattle. This seemingly, Hasselbeck, Jeremy Stevens, seemingly got Seattle back in the game, 24-14. Now, tricky Jets. Chad Pennington is right there. As a receiver, it's like the single wing. It's Lamont Jordan takes the snap, and Jordan ran well today, along with Martin, 33 yards. Paul Hackett, all of a sudden,
very creative today in what he did for this offense.
Pennington to Moss, 7 yards. They missed the extra point. It's 30-14. Second and goal, Seattle from the 1. Hasselbeck almost in. Now, why is it always this goal? I remember the Vinny play 4, 5, 6 years ago. Sean Alexander, third down. Not in. Now, 4th and goal from the 1. These are the Seahawks. Touch. No, fumble. Sean Ellis on it for the Jets. Touchback. Sean Alexander fumbles at the 1 line as Seattle was trying to make a game of it. Now, Lamont Jordan, he fumbles. Can't handle it. Maybe not. There's still a game. And the Seahawks have pulled to within 9 as Hamlin goes all the way. The officials say he goes all the way, but Herm knows. Hey, you see that? They ruled forward progress.
Yeah, his forward progress had been stopped. Not necessarily that the ball wasn't coming out. Technically, whistle blown, play dead.
Mike Holmgren furious. We didn't show it to you earlier. Curtis Martin had a touchdown that was reviewed that looked shaky, but he got in anyway then. Speaking of shaky, Hasselbeck fumbles. Sean Ellis hit. Steve Hutchinson gets it, but no. Out of his hands into Eric Barton. And so, we told you Barton had a huge game. Look, Robbie Tobeck knocks the ball out of Hutchinson's hands.
Yeah, sometimes things just aren't going your way, and you can tell when your own guy forces you to fumble after you've recovered a fumble for your own team.
And then Pennington, third TD pass of the game to Justin McCairns. The Jets win going away to the Seattle Seahawks, 37-14. Curtis Martin, 134 yards rushing. Jordan had 84, so he added up the Jets 41 carries for 229. Oh, by the way, Martin sets a Jet record, 53 rushing touchdowns. One of my favorite players breaks the old mark set by Emerson Boozer. Now, in this game, Tommy, look, the Jets, this is a big game for the Jets, not only because they thumped the Seattle team, but after Pittsburgh and after Pennington, they concocted plays that they kind of played within what he could do, and they played it to the team.
I think that the offensive coordinator, Paul Hackett, knew that he didn't have a quarterback that was at 100%, so he created some plays where he could use the intermediate to short routes to get him some confidence. He did let him throw downfield, but he made sure guys were going to be open downfield. He got the 100-plus yard, 120-plus yards from Curtis Martin, the contribution from Lamont Jordan. So this is what the Jets do. They don't get penalized. They don't turn the ball over. You had no interception today from Chad Pennington, and this is how they win football games. And even though those teams that have beat them, I think they're awfully good teams that they've lost to, they have been very, very close, and they could get better between now and the playoffs and the start of the playoffs.
And this is one of those wins. I know the Jets beat San Diego earlier before San Diego was established. This is one of those wins for the Jets, and Herm called his team out this week. I know that, and really jumped on him and said, you know, big games, our veteran players, let's go. And boy, did they come up big. Meanwhile, Seattle, I mean, they just laid an egg, but as you're about to see, Seattle in the NFC West, still sitting pretty because, here we go, because the Rams are one game behind him, and now knowing that Mike Martz's club does, that the Seahawks have lost, they can tie Seattle for first if they win at lowly Arizona. But Chris Chandler, picking up where he left off last week, had 6 picks. David Macklin picks him off. Then Chandler sacked
by Ronaldo Hill. And Chandler, 1 for 6, 1 yard, 1 pick, sit out. Jamie Martin comes in the second quarter, and it's 17-0. No, it's broken up by Hill. Then it's 17-7. Josh Tears of McCown to the rookie Larry Fitzgerald. What a grab. Touchdown. 24-7. Cardinals. Then Martin, Torrey Holt, and this sums up the rant. Fumble at the 1. You have the Alexander fumble. You have the Holt fumble. No, it's not a touchdown. It's a touchback. And in the end, Russell Davis, Tommy Polley not having a cracker. Words on the sideline. Polley punches Davis in the face. Hey, the Cardinals.
Wear your helmet when you're doing that.
You know, the Arizona Cardinals win it 31-7. Arizona, let me just sum this up for you. Arizona at 5-9 can still win the division. They're at Seattle next week. They could win the division at 7-9. And if they did that, they would lost twice to the 49ers. The only 2 games they're 9-1. You get in the picture here.
And inexplicable how the Rams could play like that, already having known that the Seahawks in your division have lost that game.
Well, the Rams, whoa. Going south, and the Rams play Philadelphia. They play not in good shape. Meanwhile, winning the division, certainly snow would slow the club from Southern California, and Philadelphia trying for a home field advantage throughout, at home against Dallas, a team they had thumped earlier. Well, if you watch Countdown, we teed you off that the Titans and the Raiders might be the most humorous game of the day. And if you like scoring, it was great. Billy Bullock, Drew Bennett, you saw him on Monday night, touchdown, 7-all early, that's 18 yards. 14-7, 8, but Bullock to Bennett. Man, what a catch. 8 TD catches, Bennett, 3 games, 14-all. Third quarter, he really got, no, that's actually late second quarter. Kerry Collins, Jerry Porter, 21-14. Then late in the third quarter, Raiders lead 28-21. Collins, Porter, touchdown, 3 for him. Collins, 5 on the day, 35-21. Bullock, Derek Mason, touchdown. Bullock had 4 touchdown passes, 35-28. 17 seconds left, 38-35 Raiders. Bullock goes in the end zone and intentionally grounds the ball for a safety. So Bullock finished with 492 yards, 40 of 60. With 4 touchdowns, 9-18 the last 2 games. They lost them both. As Kerry Collins has 5 touchdown passes, throwing for 371. You want scoring? You had it there. That's for sure. Meanwhile, let's settle it down now. Actually, a team that scored quite a lot. The Philadelphia Eagles, after their lone loss this year to the Pittsburgh Steelers, had won their last 5 games to the tune of 168-64. They started that outburst on Monday night against Dallas, you might remember. And now Philly at home in our prime cut with a chance to sew up home field advantage. Then you figure they'd have their way with Dallas. But that's why they play the games. Andy Reid and his squad looking to secure the home field. Terrell Owens, well, I didn't catch one last week. If he catches a touchdown, it's 15, and he'd make the coach wear tights. That's a preseason deal. Meanwhile, Donovan McNabb to Brian Westbrook inside the 5. McNabb, play fake, and how about this? Chad Lewis out of the witness protection program. Touchdown. They missed the extra point. 30 TD passes McNabb this year. But here comes Dallas's defense. That's Greg Ellis, recovered by Eric Obagwu. Turnover McNabb. Ensuing drive, second and goal, Vinny Testaverde. Keyshawn, touchdown. 7-6, so the Cowboys have the lead. Third quarter, same score. McNabb to Terrell Owens. And Roy Williams is going to make the hit. And Owens is going to limp off the field. First, take a look at the hit.
Yeah, you take another look at it. You're just going to see the T.O. gets pulled down awkwardly and gets bent literally over that right leg, gets tucked up under him, and that's a horrible sight. That's a horrible sight. And
he was carried off, sprained right ankle. We'll update it for you at the end of the highlight here. It's better than it looked. Meanwhile, McNabb, now all of a sudden,
these Eagles on offense, hey, already Dallas had taken them out of their game. That's Terrence Newman with a pick. They look kind of like they have at times the last couple years, right? At times bogged down. McNabb to Todd Pinkston. He doesn't get it.
Well, you just look at a couple of things here. We're gonna see Donovan McNabb. You see Pinkston here. Look inside instead of looking at the ball that's coming toward him. He's looking to see where Roy Williams is coming from. He's an intimidator, but you can't be intimidated. Then you watch passes like this, just guys not getting the separation, not getting open, not giving McNabb the space to throw the football. And look at the time he has here. Eventually, he's forced to throw this ball away, and it's called for intentional grounding.
And Bill Parcells helps with the call. So here we are late in the fourth. It's a 7-6 game, under 5 minutes to go. At the midfield stripe is Philadelphia. And this is what Donovan McNabb can do. When all else fails, just keep it. Nobody there, gone. And McNabb makes a nice move there at the 47, 12-yard pickup, first down.
You had the feeling that he trusted himself more than he trusted anybody else on the field.
Well, again, Tom, he's buying time. Whoa! And now he split 3 Cowboys, and that's an 18-yard pickup, first down. 2-minute warning, and Dorsey Levens, the old Packer, touchdown. They go for 2, don't get it, 12-7. Dallas, what can they do? Vinny Testaverde, Lido, oh, one more for the road. He balls Skaggs it. Lido Shepherd with the Silk Degrees interception, and the Eagles, not pretty, but the last time I checked, when you're 13-1, they don't necessarily award all style points. They clinch home field throughout the playoffs. However, the issue, Terrell Owens, playing without him for let's see how long. After the game, Donovan McNabb without his big wideout.
I think, for all of us, it's kind of a wake-up call, obviously. It's when a man goes down, someone else has to step up. And Freddie and also Greg Lewis came in, and we were able to just spread the ball around, just continue to do what we've been doing. One thing we have to understand, obviously, is we've been in 3 NFC championships, without T.O. So the guys just have to understand that, their number's going to be called, and when the number's called, we just have to be able to execute.
Well, sprained right ankle, Tom. X-rays negative, although an MRI tomorrow, Monday. According to Andy Reid, they said the good news is it's not broken. The bad news is it did swell, and he's certainly probably doubtful at best for the Monday night game against the St. Louis Rams in their final game against Cincinnati. We probably won't see him till the Eagles open up the playoffs on the 15th or the 16th in the division.
I think that's more good news for the Eagles. You've clinched home field advantage in the NFC. You now have literally 4 weeks before you're going to have to play a football game, a meaningful football game, and I think you only have to get T.O. a little bit of work. The downside is that we don't know exactly what the injury is and won't until we see the MRI or the results of tomorrow, and we can see clearly that they are a different football team when he's not in that lineup. They need him to play, and it was an awful sight to see T.O. go down like that. I hope that it's something that will allow him to heal and be able to play in the playoffs. He needs to be out there. I think all football fans want to see T.O. in the playoffs and see him help the Philadelphia Eagles make this run.
Well, and the beginning news is that he will be there. I mean,
McNabb threw those 2 interceptions after T.O. was out of the lineup. It's just an indicator.
We've seen that before, but at 13-1.
Oh, 13, you don't have to apologize.
Philadelphia Eagles home to the playoffs. They've done that before when we return. And I'll tell you what, the Kansas City Chiefs looking very much like a playoff team as of late, to the chagrin of the Denver Broncos, who went into KC. Meanwhile, San Diego, while Denver struggles in the snow, San Diego, could they wrap up the AFC West and complete a storybook season? Peyton Manning is tonight the night. He's got 46 TD passes. Dan Marino, the record, 48. Colts at home against the Ravens, bottom of the hour.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
And now we go to the AFC West, where Denver was in Kansas City. And at Arrowhead, they've seen this before. Dante Hall, opening kickoff, bounces to the hash mark, gets by a Bronco, and guess what? He could go all the way. 9 in his
his career, 97 yards, 7 of the Chiefs.
The same sideline as last year, only was a punt return.
Yep. And now Larry Johnson, Grandmama, his first start, 5-yard touchdown. I would say diapers off.
Yes.
14-0 Chiefs, Tom. And then Jake Plummer. We talked about him this morning on Countdown. More struggle.
You know, we talked about the picks. He started the day with 17. Here he throws number 18 to Dexter McCleon. You see how much that ball was underthrown. And then trouble with the handoff, and, you know, Tatum Bell suffers the consequences. And then Jake Plummer trying to make something happen by using his legs, and he gets tracked by the Chiefs defense.
By the way, it was his 30th birthday. Not a happy birthday. 2 more picks gives him a league-leading 19. Meanwhile, blocking the Chiefs line as good as there isn't. You think they had a hole there for Larry Johnson? Where's the defense? 28-7. Trent Green hits Sammy Parker. Where's the pass coverage? 35-10. Green 16 of 19. 3 touchdown passes. And then here's a play that sums up the Broncos. Tatum Bell on the screen. Thinking touchdown for the rookie. But Greg Wesley makes a superb play and punches the ball out. So like the Seattle play, like the St. Louis play, this play sums up Denver. 3 playoff teams nowhere near what they were a year ago. Tom, 45-17. Kansas City spanks Denver. Kansas City's been rolling. Denver's lost 3 of 4 in December since they started going there in 1963. In December, Denver, Kansas City, 1-14.
Denver Broncos did not play well, and you give the Chiefs credit for staying and hanging in. We talk about having the integrity to play at this time of year. The Chiefs showed that today.
And they had 6 sacks. There were 10 penalties against Denver. Meanwhile, the San Diego Chargers. Okay, it's snowing in Cleveland. They expected up to a foot. And so how could San Diego, withstand this? Those guys are certainly fortified. And in the first quarter, Sherrod Coach roughs the young punter Mike Cyphers. And in the scoreless game, Coach undercuts Cyphers. Although we should change his name in this note, not Coach, to Parka, Ski Parka.
Winter Coach.
Winter Coach. Well, that was Ben. First down Chargers. But they do have this. Oh, bad weather? How about LaDainian Tomlinson? Right up the gut for a 20-yard game. And then Tomlinson is going to charge toward the record books with 11 straight games with a touchdown. The record is 13. John Riggins, George Rogers with 2 games to go. He can tie the record. Speaking of records, Drew Brees, he played at Purdue. He knows cold. Antonio Gates, wide open, 72 yards. This tight end has caught his 12th touchdown of the year, tying a mark held for tight ends. Jackie Smith, Todd Christensen, Wesley Walls, and our own Mike Ditka. Wide open.
Well, you just look at Antonio Gates. He knows how to get open.
Cold.
And these guys got a lot smarter as the game went on.
Now, Terry Robisky says, well, let's try it. The interim coach of the Browns. And Hanik Milligan bobbles, recovers, Chargers ball. Robisky, you got to try something.
That's right.
Meanwhile, 3rd and goal, guess who's getting it? LT, LaDainian Tomlinson. Instead of a ski hat, you got the Browns fan. They love their football. They're out there in this weather. And the San Diego Chargers of Marty Schottenheimer have won the AFC West. The Chargers have won 8 in a row. They're 11-3. A team that won only 4 games last year, had the first-round draft pick. They are rolling to the playoffs.
We weren't expected to do much this year. Instead of 11-3, I think a lot of the people thought we'd be 3-11 at this time. But here we are, and I think we're right on track to where we want to go, and we put ourselves in a position to, and given ourselves a great opportunity. But we still have not met our expectations, and a lot of people think that might sound crazy, but we haven't. We still understand we have a long way to go, but this is definitely the first stepping stone, winning the AFC West.
Well, all the divisions are done in the AFC. The records, of course, are not. But the Steelers, the Patriots, the Chargers, and the Colts are division winners. The Jets, with a big win, have a real stranglehold on one wild card spot. Ravens, Jags, Broncos, Bills. There's a lot going on here now. The Jags have beaten both Denver and Buffalo. Just pocket that. But look, let's quickly go AFC West. What Denver's not doing in San Diego, look, first playoff berth in 9 years. First division in 10 years. San Diego first shutout in 11. Is there anybody done a better job than Marty Schottenheimer?
No, absolutely nobody. And I think he's the coach of the year. This comes totally unexpected. You know, we thought these other teams would be pretty good. This team, I think, came out of nowhere. And I think that this game plan, as you watch it today, this is a portable game plan. This is Tomlinson with that ability to establish the run. You've got a quarterback, as you mentioned, in Drew Brees, who's used to throwing in the cold. So I wouldn't expect that this team will be afraid to go anywhere and play football.
Yeah, they're going to surprise a lot on defense that shut out, that makes plays. And the San Diego Superchargers have won the AFC West. What a job by them. When we return, Brett Favre in the frozen tundra of Lambeau against Byron Leftwich of Jacksonville. You figured that Favre would have the upper hand, and a game dripping with playoff implications. 5-8 Tampa. Visa Skycam gets you ready for what could be a record-setting night for Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis 500. The Beasts of the Brickyard. The Colts hosting the very tough defensive-minded Baltimore Ravens, bottom of the hour. And now with Santa getting ready to come down the chimney, a trip to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Brett Favre, 90-19 in Packer home games. And they're playing Jacksonville, so you figure, whoa. And he hurts his left wrist here. Yes, it was...
I'm certainly not laughing at him getting hurt, but Brett's ability to get rid of the football in any situation, that kind of redefined right there.
Bruised left wrist stayed in the game. You know who took a beating but just keeps hanging in there? You got to love the way Byron Leftwich, because he can't move out of the pocket, but he is tough. Shaken up, and Leftwich stayed in. Hit by KGB Biamila. And then look at this play. The ball is live. Darren Sharper's going to pick it up and score. Here's why. They ruled it. Well, you didn't see it there, but the ball, his arm was not going forward. It was a live ball. The guard picks it up, and Sharper steals it from him. Packer touchdown. And Jack Del Rio, well, that was good motion. And I don't blame him for challenging, but here's a good call. Now you see it. Look. The arm was not going forward yet. It's a fumble, and Sharper puts the Packers ahead 10-7, but not for long. Fred Taylor, 37-yard run in the third. It's 21-17 Jacksonville. This team, I will not they come tough every week. Favre picked off by Rasheed Mathis. Favre discussed what an odd throw.
Inexplicable throw.
And then 4th and goal, Jags going for it. Greg Jones. Power football, another AFC team against an NFC team, 28-17. And now, scary Donovan Darius ejected from the game for the hit and the pulling off the helmet of Robert Ferguson.
Yeah, a scary moment with him down. And you see right here, he kind of clotheslines him right across the head and neck. You can see Ferguson appears to be almost out before he hits the ground, and you know when we saw it, we were certainly all of us a little bit shaken. Well,
at least that's a good sign. The thumbs up, X-rays on his neck. He's going to the hospital, so the best for him. Meanwhile, back to action. Favre to Antonio Chapman. It's 28-23. They go for 2. 1:08 to go. Driver catches it. 28-25. Ryan Longwell onside kick. Here it comes. And Nick Sorensen, Johnny on the spot for the Jaguars, the Jacksonville Jaguars of Jack Del Rio. You know what? Every game they give you an effort.
Yes.
And that completes 4-0 for the AFC today against the NFC. It's 39-19. And Byron, forget the numbers on this -10 wind chill day. Tough playing Leftwich and the Jags.
Yeah, and I really think that the Jags are the AFC version of what the Carolina Panthers are to the NFC. It doesn't matter who's in, who's out, who's hurt. We are going to come out, as you say, we're going to play tough every time we hit the football field and see where it ends up at the end.
And now the Packers fall back in a first-place tie with Minnesota. Meanwhile, John Gruden's Buccaneers at 5-8 against the Saints, 5-8. They're both alive. And on the opening kickoff, typical Saints. They botched the kickoff. They're going to be in big trouble because, well, wait a minute, maybe I spoke too soon. Aaron Stecker could go all the way. A disaster turns into a 98-yard touchdown right out of the gates. 7-0 Saints. First time they scored in the first quarter It's week 2. You got to be kidding me. Meanwhile, Aaron Brooks, Simeon Rice pressuring him. Greg Spires bringing here the Saints. Brooks fumbles. Then Simeon Rice. So quick off the ends.
Yeah, again, coming
7
around
sacks today, Bucks.
Well, they put a lot of pressure on Aaron Brooks, and usually when you put a lot of pressure on a guy, it's going to force him into some mistakes. The other quarterback, not quite under that kind of pressure, and Joey Galloway, what a day.
Look at this. Joey Galloway over his own man makes the cut. Galloway at the 15. He's in. 59-yard punt return. Galloway. He had 2 today. The Bucks lead 14-7. Michael Pittman running hard. Fumble with the Bucks leading 17-14 in the fourth, and the Saints have the ball. Second and goal, Aaron Brooks, Dante Stallworth, seconds to go. The Saints, the New Orleans Saints, who trailed by 10, 17-7, then missed a field goal in typical Saints fashion. Come back to score 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns and win by the count of 21-17. So the Saints, Tom, the Saints, are in the hunt. They're 6-8, and the Bucks at 5-9, probably not. So here you go. Obviously, the Norris division up for grabs. The Seahawks at 7-7, the only team not below 500 in the West. They lead their division. Eagles 1, and Falcons just about 2. Well, no, they are 2. That's done. Vikes, and then Panthers, Saints, Rams. See, despite the loss on Saturday night, the Panthers still have a chance. Now, I got to tell you something. It's been a long time since I've checked Arizona's Week 17 schedule.
They're still in it.
They're in it.
No, they're still in it, yes.
Tampa, New Orleans, Carolina, Arizona, they all have chances, Tom.
Yeah. All have chances, and yet I think when I look at the character of the ball clubs, when I look at where they've come from, I still keep looking at the 1-7 at one time Carolina Panthers to where they've come now. I know they just lost a game on Saturday night, but when I look at that football team, I think that it's going to be hard to keep that football team out of the playoffs.
Well, Carolina plays Tampa and New Orleans down at the end.
They're going to kind of control a lot of things that are going to go on.
And meanwhile, the Packers with a numbing, no pun intended, loss, and now Minnesota and them on Christmas Eve. That's a huge game. A
huge game as well.
Huge game. And the NFC, will somebody please stand up and be a contender? Primetime performers as we head to Christmas week. We'll dole out some presents.
NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. Grab yourself a...
Well, my game ball goes to Larry Johnson of the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a kid who's been just itching to get into the game. He showed what he can do when he gets some playing time. 151 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns scored. He's made the kind of impact now late in the season that I think, you know, the Chiefs will really be looking for next year.
My game ball goes to Marty Schottenheimer and the San Diego Chargers. Playoff, 9 years. Division title's been 10 years. Shutout, it's been 11 years. They've won 8 in a row. They win in the snow. They win in the sun. They win in the rain. And they're going to the playoffs out of nowhere. Out of absolutely nowhere.
Nowhere.
And meanwhile, I mean, there could be some really good teams in the AFC that don't make it.
Yeah.
You think it's too late to shift to the NFC?
No, you can't. We can't shift it. But new NFL record for 100-yard rushes this year. With the new bump rule impact, we thought it affected the passers, it affected the rushers. Better rushing games.
Taylor had a huge game, too, 165.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what? From all of us to all of you, Merry Christmas. Hope Santa brings you everything that you want. For Tom Jackson, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching NFL Primetime.